But here's the thing: when I received your book, and they gave me the gift of reflection, and I said, well, why is that? Why have I always been so optimistic? And I realized immediately it's because of my Christian faith. And something in our very first conversation that I said to you was the best is yet to come. And you showed me, in that conversation, this sign that you have, the best is yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Matt Drinkon. Welcome back to another episode of the Eternal Optimist Podcast. And I might say this frequently, that we're in for a treat. And today, we're in for a treat. We have my new friend who has inspired me already. We've met a couple months ago from a mutual friend, Hal, our mutual friend from the Miracle Morning. And Eric has already amazed me with his story, and it's such a compelling story, so I'm glad to bring him on today. We're not going to go all into all the accolades, the success that he's had professionally. Let's just say that he's accomplished in what he's done professionally. We may go and talk a little bit about that, but I really want to focus on just his journey. It's an amazing one. So without any further ado, I'm going to invite or welcome to the stage my friend, Eric Stranghoener. Eric Stranghoener. Eric, did I get that right?
Yeah, no, you're great, Matt. And thank you so much for the overly kind introduction. It's very much appreciated. And I am genuinely thrilled to be with you this morning. I wake up every day and, remind myself that every day is full of opportunities to love, serve, and care other people, for others. And I really believe we often underestimate the amount of impact that we can have in the day when we realize it's not about us, it's about serving others and trying to be our best for others. And so there's just an abundance of opportunity for joyful moments available to us each day, if we'll tap into that and be fully present. So to have the opportunity to reconnect with you and continue building on our conversation and share that with some of your audience is a true joy for me. So thank you again for the opportunity.
Wow, thank you. That may have been the best response in the history of our show, just to start. So thank you. I mean, where do we go? I want to start with what you just shared. I mean, I feel that sometimes we can certainly underestimate the impact that a conversation might have. As an example, as we record this on October the 4th, 2024, I just had a conversation yesterday. I had a guest on, the chief of police from Rock Hill, South Carolina, came on and talked about, law enforcement and his career there. And he shared the side of law enforcement that the public may not know about, since all we hear are sometimes the headlines, and it was jarring, and it touched my heart. And he sent me some pictures about some of the people that he's been able to serve. So I'm with you. One conversation can have an infinite impact that ripples out throughout. One conversation, one act, one picture, it can all matter. So I'm excited to hear your story and empower you to share it today, Eric. Before we go into the story, can you take a minute or a few minutes, just give us a couple bullet points? What's the origin story of Eric Stranghoener, so we know a little bit about you, like where you're from, upbringing, just family, business, just a couple of bullet points so we have context, please.
Sure, Matt, would be happy to. First and foremost, I'm born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri, and excited to still live here today. But for me, my life starts with my foundation of faith. I'm a Christian, and that's where everything flows for me on a daily basis. Flow out of gratitude, frankly, for God's grace, and I am incredibly blessed to be married to the love of my life, Andrea. We have 4 incredible sons. Cooper is 14. Luke is 13 here in a couple of weeks. And then Will and Wyatt are 9 years old. Incredible amount of energy every day in the Stranghoener household. And it really is a blessing. We're really fortunate to have so much family in town as well. From my mom and dad to my older brother and younger sister. We're able to attend church together every Sunday morning, along with Bible study and Sunday school for the kids. And just about every Sunday,
Awesome.
we also come back together for dinner in the evening. My parents, Steve and Bonnie, are just incredible people, instilled in me, again, a foundation of Christian faith and tremendous values, and also just work ethic. And my dad is, without a doubt, my hero. And as a son, I think that's one of the most incredible blessings when you have that type of father and relationship. So, like I said, grew up and had a lot of different experiences. We're a big sports family, so had some
Okay.
opportunity to participate in various capacities over the course of my life. A little bit of playing, a lot of coaching now, which is one of my true joys and passions. Attended school, studied business at the University of Missouri, and just incredibly fortunate to be a part of the leadership team at a wonderful firm based in St. Louis, Reuben Brown. Just close to 1,000 people who every day try to wake up and be their best in the service of others. Incredible culture that we have, trying to serve others and provide value to clients. So that's a couple of quick bullet points, and I'm sure we'll dive into more detail on some of those areas as we continue in the conversation.
Yes. And okay, so here's what I gathered. I gathered St. Louis. So I'm imagining you're a big fan of anything St. Louis Cardinal related. So who's your
No
favorite
doubt.
Cardinal? Who's your favorite Cardinal of all time? Or if you had to say two, who's your top one or two?
That's easy. No hesitation there. Willie McGee, without a doubt.
William McGee, the speedster. Oh, I remember him breaking
You
records back in '86. Nice.
you,
Okay.
you got it.
Okay. Cool. I thought you might say old Ozzy, or you might say the old Pujols more recently.
Ozzy is just absolutely terrific, and remains in St. Louis as a just great citizen in the St. Louis community. I mean, it is hard to limit it to one, but
yeah.
true story for another day. Willie actually had a condo in the neighborhood I grew up in, and was one of the just most kindest and most incredible people in sort of that sports realm that I've met. So I wish we could cue the music right now. The heat is on, because I think back in those days of the '80s Cardinals just winning championships, I think that was one of the theme songs. So yeah.
Heck yeah. I remember, actually I'm 47 now. In 1987, it was my big time when I was 10 collecting baseball cards. And I remember one of my first cards I ever got was Todd Worrell, record breaker. I think he might have started his career as a rookie and thrown like X number of strikeouts in his first game or something, or scoreless innings in his rookie season, something about St. Louis. I remember. And yeah, so excellent.
I'm fairly confident, Matt, that somewhere in the basement and the bins and tubs of baseball cards that were procured over the years, that I have a 1987 Topps Todd Worrell too. So,
oh yeah. Okay, good. We have in common. My dad was also my hero. God bless. I lost him when I was 28. 19 years ago. But my dad was my hero too. And if I heard you say Steve is his name, he's still with us. So
he is.
That's great to hear, man. I'm super happy for you there. And you have family meals on Sundays together, which is cool. I'm curious, who's the family cook? Like, who has the skills, and what's the family dish that's known in the Stranghoener household?
Well, it's certainly not me. I don't have many skills, and cooking is definitely not one of them. My mom is a wonderful cook, and we had a few different meals growing up. But I would say at this stage, there's just a local little nothing fancy restaurant down the street from where we all live, and so we usually actually go out to dinner now. But it's just such a joyful time to. We start Sunday with worship, and then we end Sunday as we all begin our busy weeks together, and just enjoying each other's company, sharing stories. Nowadays, we spend a lot of time trying to celebrate the incredible achievements of the kids and grandkids for my mom and dad. And, relationships are the essence of life. We were created for relationship and connection, and that starts with family. And so, credit to my parents for laying that foundation.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Well, let's get into it, my friend. I've been looking forward to asking you about this. Something happened in your life earlier this year that, at least from where I sit, it's incredibly challenging. It's even challenging to talk about, think about from where I sit, but you went through it. So I'd love to ask you to kind of narrate for us your tale and go back as early as you like to this year or sooner, whatever you like. But I'd love to hear about your story and the things that unfolded over the last few months in your life, Eric. So I'll turn it to you, sir.
Yeah, Matt, before I do that really quickly, I just wanted to highlight, this is the Eternal Optimist podcast. And, it was very incredible to me when I received your gracious gift of your book, that you wrote, The Eternal Optimist. Didn't intend for that to be a plug, but I did read it and enjoyed it thoroughly. But what I wanted to say is two things that inspired me when I opened that gift. The first was the title, The Eternal Optimist. And because I would say if I've been criticized in my life, if you ask me what have people been critical of over the years, the thing I would put at the top of the list is for being an eternal optimist, and at times maybe being a shade too optimistic, too positive. But here's the thing: when I received your book, and it gave me the gift of reflection, and I said, well, why is that? Why have I always been so optimistic? And and I realized immediately it's because of my Christian faith. And something in our very first conversation that I said to you was the best is yet to come. And you showed me, in that conversation, this sign that you have, the best is yet. And that there it is. And in that moment, first of all, I knew that this was a new friendship that you and I were forming, that is a lifelong friendship, and I'm excited about the ways that we can collaborate together for decades to come to serve others. But the best is yet to come might sound like almost potentially a cliche, that just these eternal optimists put out there, but as I had that process of reflection of why, since as long as I can remember from a young age, I've operated as an eternal optimist. Like I said, it tied back to my faith because each day when I wake up and reflect on those opportunities to love, serve, and care for others, I also reflect and realize that today is the best day of my life because purely as a result of the grace of God, I'm one day closer to heaven. Okay. Eternity, perfect bliss in heaven. Okay. That's the eternal part of optimist, and the rock solid confidence and faith that gives me the optimism of knowing that, the struggles, the troubles that we endure in this roller coaster of life are not worthy to be compared to what, by the grace of God, we'll experience in heaven. So I just wanted to take that opportunity to share in the context of the title of this program, where my source of eternal optimism comes from. And I think that also helps set the stage for responding to the question that you asked about, one of those challenges that I experienced earlier this year. So it actually goes back a couple years, Matt, from the perspective of, right on the top of my head, I had just a real small spot that started out on my skin, and didn't think too much about it. Again, being that eternal optimist, figured that it would eventually go away. But as time progressed, not only did this spot not go away, but it started to grow and get quicker. So I knew, and I came to the point, and also with some loving encouragement from my parents and my wife, I said, I need to go visit the doctor and I need to go get this checked out, which, being someone who is very active and really does try my best to stay in great physical condition and watch, what I eat and getting good rest and exercise, all those things to stay healthy. Visiting the doctor is not something that I had done in quite some time, but was able to go, and the just wonderful care of a great healthcare team just began that journey, which, after a few initial steps, culminated in actually receiving that diagnosis that, you have some skin cancer. And in that moment, for those that have experienced it, and I do want to say that there are a number of different, certainly types of physical ailments, including cancer, to varying degrees of severity. I have to quickly acknowledge my just wonderful, incredible, world's greatest mother-in-law, who herself had a very challenging and difficult cancer diagnosis over the last couple of years, but just through her incredible positivity, optimism, willingness to show up and fight and battle, and her faith has overcome that, and she's absolutely thriving. As a matter of fact, Will and Wyatt are spending some time with Gigi later today, this evening, after their half day of school. But having said that, and going back to my own personal journey with that cancer diagnosis, in that moment, it's somewhat difficult to describe, but it hits you, your, I guess I would say, mortality, in a sense. And it's really a gift in that it helps you almost reframe your perspective. And so, as any medical situation, you learn, you gather facts, you process, and then you do the best you can to tackle it head on. And ultimately, through an abundance of faith and prayer and great care from wonderful, skilled physicians, you try to begin the process of healing. And I would tell you, Matt, that, this resulted in them really, not to get too graphic here, but cutting a reasonably large hole in the top of my head.
Yeah.
And,
Wow.
Down to the skull, down to the bone. And there were some different challenges that we can talk about in that process. But what I really want to focus on is less about the challenges and more of the gifts and more of the lessons that I learned through that process and through that journey.
Okay, I'd love to hear about the lessons, and you're very gifted at what you do in sharing your story, because on my end, I missed a little bit of that because my internet went down. So thank you for continuing to share. And I want to focus on the gifts too. But can you share the feelings that are going through you as all of this is unfolding, as they're laying out a plan, as you're just walking yourself through it, and you're hearing and you're going through everything? If you've not already shared that, can you share just everything you were feeling at that moment?
Yeah, you immediately, I started to talk about that perspective, and even thinking about, your mortality. But what I would say is you immediately think of others, and you think of those closest to you, most important to you. You're not thinking about the 35 things on your to-do list or the 12 meetings that are coming up later that week. You think about people that are important to you, the relationships that you're blessed to have, which, of course, for me, starts with my family. And you think about those relationships, and, especially with my sons, who are just my inspiration, how many more opportunities I hope to have with them to continue to be their dad and help them grow and experience joy in their journey, and really try to maximize the unique gifts that God has placed within each of them. So that's when you shift from, okay, all of those things that are truly important to me, let's go, let's tackle this. Let's start the process to get on the path to healing and full recovery. So,
wow.
The two things that I want to highlight as gifts in that process. Actually, I always have a bonus, so I'm going to say 3. Number 1 is
Okay.
I've already started to touch on this, but the first gift is when I started thinking about those relationships. It's not about me. Okay, it's not
Okay.
about me, and it's really about others. And what I would say from there is, a quick little interesting note that I reflected on in this process. So a lot of appointments, for someone that hadn't been to the doctor, I would say in many years, to start going with these regular appointments was definitely a shift, and a reminder that I'm not in control. Which is one of the things that I'm continuously working on, is reminding myself daily that I'm not in control. But what's interesting about this, Matt, is through that process, when I was a little boy, okay, I had this incredibly kind and sweet, I guess you would call it, hairstylist. And I was always a little bit frustrated because, God gifted me with this, you call it a double crown. And it's this colic in the back of your head where your hair just like sticks up and it won't go down. And it's
Okay.
and so stick with me on this for a second though. Okay. So this cancer developed right in the heart of one of those supposed double crowns, which, by the way, getting back to the hairstylist, what I wanted to highlight there, especially being a father and a coach that is blessed to work with so many young people in our community, never underestimate the impact that you can have in a few words that you can say to a young man or woman. But this hairstylist could tell I was like just frustrated with this. And she said, what you have there is actually called a double crown, and it's very rare, and it's a sign of greatness, and that God has a big plan for your life. And I was like, whoa. So
Wow.
I think so many things in life, it's a matter of shifting perspective. And sometimes we can be the catalyst, we can be the spark, the source of inspiration to help someone shift their perspective on something that they're challenged by. Again, young boy, but this is relatively minor. So fast forward, we'll call it 30 plus years later, and I go and I get this growing spot of cancer on my head that's right in the heart of one of these quote unquote, double crowns. And one of my points of frustration, leaving the doctor at the hospital, it hit me. Because I'm always looking for what's the lesson, what's God trying to teach us, through different experiences in life. And the lesson was, Eric, you have been blessed in so many ways already in your life. Okay. And you have so much ahead of you. But this concept of a double crown, it's my plan for your life, my blessing, provision. And at times, we can all get a little bit distracted by what we think are our plans or what we think we can do, should do, and want to achieve and accomplish, and always climbing, the ladder. And literally, God cut that second crown, so to speak, out of my head. So now for the remaining years of my life, whether it's 1 year or 60 years, it's 100% laser focused on Him and on our Savior and what He can do, because it's just not about me. Isn't that an interesting little story that God weaved through in my life?
I hear a couple of things I find very interesting. One, I love that you live to your values and your principles so much so that even in the biggest challenge, or at least from where I sit, one of the biggest challenges of your life, you're still able to be humble enough and grateful enough to see God's bigger picture. So I really respect and appreciate that. And this whole time I'm thinking to myself, I love the way you reframe this. This is a double crown. This is an advantage. This is a good thing. I've got this weird hairstyle that's different, which I love, by the way, because my hair sticks up too. I don't have a double crown, but now that I might start calling it that too.
I have to go with it now.
Dude, what's the size of this? If you didn't mention already, what's the size of this? Cancer on the back of your head that's right there in the middle of the double crown. What did it look like?
Yeah. Honestly, again, not to describe it too much, but the most simplest way I can put it, it's like someone took the size of a golf ball just right out, like literally that deep, and
Wow.
that type of circumference out of my head. And so I'm, for months and months and months going through these appointments. It's a very, very difficult spot, okay, to heal. There weren't really many options, but that leads me to the second greatest lesson that God gave me as a gift through that process. Okay. And that is this. I am extremely optimistic. I just, try to bring an abundance of positive energy each and every day. But I was leaving one of the first appointments when I thought, Matt, they cut it out. That was a challenging process. But yeah, an appointment or two, I'm a fast healer. I'm a healthy guy. We're as good as new. And when the family and I go to the Lake of the Ozarks, in a week or two, I'm jumping in the pool and doing all the dad stuff, right? Wrong. I was very wrong. And the reality that this was, again, minor in the grand scheme of life, right? Very, very minor. Okay. But this was going to entirely change the next several months in many different ways. And I texted my wife, Andrea, when I left this appointment. And again, being 99% of the time an abundance of positive energy, in that moment, I said to her, sweetheart, I can't sugarcoat it. This sucks.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
Yeah.
For saying that. But that's just the truth, Forgive me for saying that, but that's just the truth. But here's what's beautiful, Matt. And I hope that there's just one person that can maybe perhaps have a small dose of inspiration from the gift that I received in that moment. I was in the parking lot, and instead of like wallowing and, thinking about all the things that, that I couldn't do and the disruption to the routine and the different challenges, in almost less than a minute, again, by the grace of God, I said, okay, wait a minute. What's the lesson? God is working all things together for good at all times. I believe that to the very core of my being. What's the lesson here? And in 2 minutes, it hit me like a bolt of lightning. Patience.
Oh.
God is using this experience, this relatively minor trial, to teach me patience. I am always, always, always on the go, wanting to, do the next thing and overachieve and fill the day. God just needed to remind me in that moment, be patient. Be patient. You still haven't learned what you need to learn from this process. I'm working this out for your ultimate good. Be patient. And I can't fully describe it to you, but I would say like the climax moment of my frustration in this one particular aspect of my journey, I went immediately to a state of total peace. And I said, okay, I trust you. And I carried on with my day. And, from that moment forward, again, try to always find, the blessings, what I could learn through that journey. And it took longer than I originally anticipated. But the very last opportunity on Labor Day weekend a few weeks ago, at the end of the summer of 2024, I was healed to a point to where I could jump in the pool with Cooper, Luke, Will, and Wyatt. And I have to tell you that even though I've been able to enjoy that wonderful swimming pool of at my mother-in-law and father-in-law's house many, many times before, hundreds of times, that one particular day, I feel I enjoyed it more than every time before combined. And what a gift that was. What a reminder of, the opportunity, as I said at the start, to really tap into joy each and every day if we'll be fully present and have a spirit of gratitude. So,
Whew. Wow. Okay. Thank you for sharing this. I mean, my first thought is, do you have a picture of you guys jumping in the pool together? Because that feels like that would be like a treasure to capture that moment. Did you guys get any kind of footage that day? Any kind of picture that day?
I am almost certain that I do, and I will find it and I will send it to you. So,
Yeah, that's amazing. Three gifts.
If I don't, I have the picture. If I don't, I'm sorry, Matt, to interrupt, but if I don't, I I vividly have the picture in my mind. So,
Well, what was it? Well, describe it to us. Because this moment just feels like kind of a culmination of all the struggle to get to this moment for some. So I'm curious, what was that vivid picture of you jumping in the pool with your boys for the first time in some time? What do you see?
pure joy, pure joy, pure joy. The gift, and all the opportunities to strive and achieve, and impact and do wonderful things in different roles. That's the greatest gift and role that I have, is being a father, and being able to have a even deeper appreciation for the awesome gift and responsibility that is each and every day. It was pure joy. And to make it a little more specific, there were
Amazing.
cannonballs. We did this thing where the boys want me to lift them up, and we call it stand on your hands. We shot some hoops. We did all the normal things that we did. We just appreciated them that much more on that particular day.
Thank you. And I want to just give a bookmark here for our listeners, because if you're listening carefully, there's a couple things that I picked out from what Eric shared. He's sharing the three reflections, or the three gifts that he received in this experience. And he talked about being able to show up every day and bring an abundance of positive energy to the table every day. And when he's hearing about diagnosis and treatment, if you caught the detail, he talked about in less than a minute, he was able to pivot from whatever is coming up first to what's the lesson here and what's the gift here. And in order just to be able to do that and to share that with our audience, Eric, that to me, that's a real a treasure. That's a real opportunity for anyone listening to that, is that when you have adversity striking your life, how long do you focus on it and do you let it get you down before you start to learn from it, before you can, flip it on its head and ask, what's the gift I'm receiving here? And if you're a person of faith, then what is the opportunity that God has gifted me here? And I'm all in with you, my friend. I mean, how soon might you be able to pivot to, what is the amazing gift? And then you went to it. You said the gift was patience. How many people in that moment are thinking this is a gift? And the gift that I'm being offered is the gift of patience. I can learn more about patience. That's that right there. More of that in our world is how I believe we can let the light shine and overtake what darkness might be out there, is to look for the gifts, look for the opportunities. So I thank you for sharing that. To me, that was a master class. And it's just my lens. Everyone has their own emotions and thoughts and feelings about how to go through a scenario like you did, but you did it and you were looking for the gift and you were grateful and you were looking to serve others. And you were thinking about, the moment that when I'm healed, I can get back and jump in the pool with my boys. And it was pure joy to think of it. And then when you did it, it was pure joy. So I heard so many amazing things there. So thank you again. That was awesome.
And man, I appreciate what you said about, really just shining the light on the opportunities each day. And, sometimes, to be sure, there are a number of different challenges in the world on a macro and micro scale. But just the power of connection and people, again, not trying to make it about themselves, but to try to share their faith, try to share their love with others. And again, sitting here, a couple of eternal optimists, think about what can happen. The momentum, the tidal wave, the snowball effect of that. I just, I wear this. I have two wristbands on my wrist. Okay.
Okay.
One was a gift from an awesome young man that I had the opportunity to coach in football, and it's a couple hundred showers in at this point, so you can't see anything on it, but it said Jesus loves you. I know it still says that. The other one is Matthew 19:26. With God, all things are possible. With God, all things are possible. So I'm excited. Again, to continue as we have this conversation, and even looking ahead to different ways that we can collaborate, and maybe try to continue to shine a bright light in at times what is a dark world, and just serve others. And again, that effect of two people can lead to four people, can that multiplier effect is when it comes from the right place can be unstoppable. So I am optimistic that there's an abundance of opportunity for joy and the fruit of the Spirit, the rest of the fruit of the Spirit in the world. So again, grateful for the opportunity to do so. And building on that, I would say, and I share this all the time with folks close to me, and I would say in coaching. But one of my big themes is joy in the journey. Okay.
Yes.
Joy in the journey. Okay. And, one of the things that I would say to that, I wish we had more time that I could tell you about some absolutely incredible experiences coaching football with a great group of young men.
Well, can you give me one? We got a little bit of time left. Do you have time for just one?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you that. A 4-year journey with my oldest son, Cooper, and some of his closest friends, my 26 adopted sons, so to speak. My brothers, the other 3 coaches, and my wife, and another incredible woman who was, part of the leadership team and team moms. And what I would tell you is, in that journey, okay, I'm a very competitive person. Okay, and anything and everything, I want to show up and try to be my best and bring my best and compete and quote unquote, win, whatever that might look like on any given day with any given opportunity. And we were able to win a lot. Okay, and over the course of some years, but we kept falling short of the championship. And even losing to teams, I'll say, in the playoffs that we had lost in the regular season. Talented group all across the board. And, going into the last season, and the kids, I think many of them, certainly Cooper did, and some of his closest friends, but some of the kids had a little bit of an idea of, faith being important to me. And that I couldn't just help at times that would come out and working with the young men and then coaching. But I have to tell you that in that last season, and this concept of joy in the journey, and there's a very important distinction between joy and happiness. But in this journey, we were able to take this talented group of young men and finally get them to the point to where it's not about me scoring the touchdown, getting the accolades, or making the great play. It's about a team of 26 of us all having important contributions that we can make to a goal that's bigger than ourselves. And what was great about that is couple more quick things on that.
Okay.
One would be, I would always do this thing, right? I've got passion, I've got energy. That's part of Coach Eric's contribution to the team, because I'm not the greatest coach by any wild stretch, but I will bring the passion, okay?
Okay.
And before each game, we would come in real tight as a group, okay? And we would just do this thing where we would get energized and amped up and excited to go play football, okay? But something happened the third game of that final season, okay? And I'm not going to share the whole backstory. But that third game of the final season, right before we come together and we're one big group and we're ready to go compete and win another football game, and one of the players says, wait, coach, before we do that, should we pray first?
Whoa.
And I said, whoa. And without hesitation, I said, absolutely. So now each game that became part of our journey through this season, and had a different opportunities to share that aspect of who I am, and to share the love of Christ, and walking to and from practice and just toss a Bible verse back and forth to some of the players. And then, we continue on. We continue to just, find, not only our love for winning, but our love for each other, our love for the game, and for many of them, a love for Jesus as well. And so we finally, win the championship, the Super Bowl.
Nice.
And which was great, undefeated season. And, that was the one game where not only before the game, but after the game, we all came together almost as a community. And we prayed. But then I'll never forget this moment, and I'll conclude here. One of perhaps the most talented players on the team, okay, who is just an incredible young man, and like any young man, has different gifts and also things that they're trying to figure out as they continue to grow up in their journey of life and different challenges. But and this kid's going to be in the NFL, so he's just that talented if he continues to work, and he's one of the hardest workers I've ever seen. But after this game, and everybody's on the field and all this fun stuff, and he comes up to me and he says, Coach, now remember, we talked about opportunities and relationships. These are relationships that were built and formed over the course of several years working with these young men. And he says, Coach, we did it. We finally won. We finally won the championship. And, he was so excited. And I said, that's great. And I said, how does it feel? He says it feels awesome. But he said, Coach, I just have to tell you, we won because of Jesus. I prayed before the game, and I found faith this year. And, so I didn't get into a whole discussion around, faith and guaranteed outcomes and things of that nature. But I just latched on to the fact that he was so excited, so passionate about football, but even more passionate about this new foundation that he had in his life. And it's a moment that I'll never forget. And if I live, 41 or 101 years, and if, as a broken tool by the grace of God, he can use me in a small way to just reach one young man, then it's all worth it, joy in the journey. So
love that. I'm with you. It is the joy in the journey. And along the way, your impact, your faith, and your belief in them inspired them to be open to this possibility, and it feels like he's hitting a home run. He feels fulfilled, and he feels grateful. And if he's feeling that way, and you helped him find that or lead the way, then kudos to you, my friend. I'm trying my best to do the same thing too, to lead people to the light. And if the light
has nothing to do with me, like the smallest of parts, and it nothing to do with me. But by the grace of God, it's awesome when we're fully present to those opportunities, and that's what I'm looking forward to. However much time we're blessed with, I'm looking forward to trying to continue each day to grow stronger, spiritually, mentally, physically, until my last day, and just look at each day full of opportunity to try to serve others, knowing that I'm gonna miss opportunities, and I'm gonna stumble and fall at times and say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, but if I try to approach each situation, each person with the best intention, again, trying to be of service to others, then recognizing that none of us are perfect, but if we start from that place, maybe God can use us in small ways or every once in a while, big ways, to make an impact on others. So
You've had such an impact today. I've never asked anybody this question before, but I feel compelled. If you were to leave this physical world today and go to heaven, then I wonder, what would you have on your tombstone?
Matt, I apologize. I lost you just a little bit in the connection. Can you repeat the question,
Oh,
please?
most certainly. If you were to leave us today and go to heaven, I wonder, what would you have on your tombstone?
Join the journey.
Join the journey.
Join the journey. That's what it would be. That would be in small print, at the bottom, I guess I should say. And, I'd probably have Ephesians 2, 8, and 9 in big print at the top. So.
Wow. What refresh my memory? Ephesians 2, 8, and 9. What is that verse?
I'll do my best.
Okay,
yeah.
Biblical scholars, get ready to test, Eric's translation here. Let's see.
It's by the grace of God are you saved. It's a gift, not of your own works, lest any man should boast. So it's a gift, and
awesome.
And what I'm trying to do, being very, very flawed and imperfect, but trying to, true humility is not shrinking or setting smaller goals. It's just acknowledging where the potential and power really comes from. So trying to bring, humility, but a spirit of being your best for others and a spirit of excellence to each day, to just try to help others experience joy in that journey, however long we may have. So.
Awesome. Man, this has been refreshing. It's been a filling of my bucket. So thank you for that, Eric. And I know our listeners are gaining some value from this. This has been absolutely just much appreciated. You've gifted us with the gift of reflection. You've gifted us with a mindset or a lens by which we might find joy in our own journeys. So, many thanks, my friend.
I'm grateful for the time, for the relationship, and let's find another way to do it again, and to try to continue to share with others. And I may even have an idea for you that we can talk about offline on that. But again, I'm grateful, and you have inspired me. It's very important for me to say that. And again, it's not that often in life, but you just instantly connect with someone and know that there's a great plan for that relationship. So I'm excited to see where that goes. And I can say, Matt, with confidence, the best is yet to come.